Salute to all the diehards. This is Die Hard Giants Live, and I am your host. I am Jarrell on IG and Twitter. What's happening, people? It's been a while, man. I was mad that I couldn't do a live last week. I missed talking to my people. It's been a long summer, been a long off season. You guys already know how the Giants have been. And Kareem just showed up. Peace, peace, peace. Salute to everybody. Yeah, man, you know how we do it around here. I'm going to talk about some stats. We're going to talk about the game. We're going to talk about the Giants in general because I haven't been here in a while. But, yeah, Wonder Woman, tough loss, man. Very, very, very tough loss. It was hard to stomach that one afterwards, man. Like, we played so well, at least on offense. We'll get into that. But, yeah, man, the Giants lost to the Cowboys again. I don't know, man. When it comes to the Cowboys and Dak Prescott, seemed like since he's been drafted, I think we've only beaten him one time. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but we haven't beaten Dallas hardly at all since they drafted Dak. Yeah, man, it's almost like a curse. Like, even though the Eagles obviously have had a good few years, they won 2 Super Bowls in the past 10 years, but Dallas is the one that's been a thorn in our ass, man. Like, we haven't been able to beat Dallas, whether it's in their house or at home. So, yeah, we're going to get into it. Damn, they got a good kicker. So, salute to everybody in the chat. Like I said, Dwayne, Wonder Woman, Kareem is in the house. Let's get into these stats, man. Russell Wilson, almost, you can arguably say he had the best passing yardage or the best passing game of his whole career, and that man is probably going to the Hall of Fame one day. That's saying a lot. Even the last few years since he's left Seattle, I don't know. I wouldn't say that, Russ actually was, lighting the scoreboard up in Denver and Pittsburgh, but I don't know what it was, man. He got a jolt of energy against Dallas this past Sunday, and he had 450 yards, man. The only blemish was that last interception everybody saw at the end of overtime. It didn't seal the game for Dallas, but it pretty much did because they got a super kicker over there, kicked a 65-yard field goal on us. But our offense, at least passing, actually showed a lot of promise for the first time in a very, very long time under Brian Daboll. Regardless of who the quarterback is, Brian Daboll's offense has been kind of lackluster since he's been here, especially since the first year when we went to the playoffs with him and he won Coach of the Year. Lately, our offense, it really doesn't matter who the quarterback is. We have, flourishes with Tommy DeVito a little bit and Tyrod Taylor, but, yeah, we haven't had a good offense since the very first year of Brian Daboll's tenure here. And I wouldn't even necessarily say that offense was that good. We were just winning games and winning close games his first season. But, yeah, man, our offense has been pretty much trash for the past couple of years. But we went to Dallas, and we put up some points, man, 37 of them. Russell Wilson, like I said, had 450 yards. Cam Skattebo, a nice rookie. I think he might be RB1, man. Seemed like I'm a little surprised that he took over the snaps for Tyrone Tracy so soon. I kind of figured, Tracy would have a little longer leash. I didn't think he had a terrible game last week. It's not like he fumbled or, was missing key assignments or anything like that, at least that I didn't see. So it's kind of hard to believe that Cam Skattebo just leapfrogged him that fast. Tyrone Tracy only had 5 carries for 15 yards. Skattebo, as you can see on the screen, 11 carries for 45. Neither one of them lit up the scoreboard or looked overly impressive running the ball, but that has a lot to do with our offensive line. For some reason, our offensive line can't run block. I know we're missing Andrew Thomas. That's a tough blow. We had a rookie in there, Marcus Bowe. I'll talk about Hudson a little later with his bonehead plays after I get through the stats. and talk about like you know, the status of the team in general. But I mean, after I get through these stats, we're gonna talk about Hudson. But yeah, we had a rookie in there taking over for Andrew Thomas like in the second quarter after Hudson pretty much was blowing the game for us. But that's not the reason why we can't run the ball. I still think we have huge inconsistencies in the interior line. Um, JMS isn't panning out. That's another draft pick from our fearless leader Joe Shane that hasn't panned out yet. I don't want to call him a bust already. It's still a little early, but we kind of saw it a little early with Evan Neal. This is looking like a bust too, man. JMS has not been living up to his draft stock. Let's just say that, us picking him early in the second round. Um, but yeah, offensive line did pretty good at pass blocking, but run blocking, yeah, leave much to be desired, man. We was all over the place in the running game. As you can see, hold on before I get to the receiving, Jackson Dart came into the game finally. A lot of fans was itching for him. Little package that Brian Dable put in first play for Jackson Dart's career. He just handed the ball to Cam Scatterbull, and it was like, I forgot how many yards it was, but it was probably like the biggest run play of the day for us. Little draw play up the middle. But yeah, like Jackson Dart, it's not like he looked bad or good. It's just, I think he just put him in there to get his feet wet. I thought it was a little odd because how Russ was cooking to put in the rookie. Like I could see if Russ was playing badly. I could see if he would have put him into the first game, but him actually putting him in the second, giving him a package in the second was kind of surprising to me. Yeah, let's get to the receivers. Malik Neighbors, obviously, man. Malik Neighbors, ever since we drafted him, I've said this is a strong statement, but Malik Neighbors might end up being the best wide receiver in the league in a couple years, man. Like, I know he's still young. There's still a lot of things that he need to clean up and learn. But from an athleticism standpoint, from like knowing the playbook, he got his head in the game. It's not like he missed a whole bunch of assignments. Obviously, there was a miscommunication between him and Russ on that last play, the last play for us of the game with that last interception. But, that it could have been a lot of reasons that happened. It might not have been Leak's fault at all. It might not even be Russ's fault. It's stuff like that just happens sometimes. The pocket was collapsing on Russ when he threw it. And I think he just thought that Leak was going to do a post. He ended up going through the sideline and he threw it directly to one of the safeties. So was in the corner. I forgot who actually caught the interception, but yeah, that was a bad play, but that doesn't erase all the tape that Malik Neighbors had before that. Like, he was phenomenal. He looked like he looked like, I'm trying to think. He kind of reminds me of Jamar Chase with Cincinnati. Kind of same build, same power, same suddenness in his movements. He catches the ball. Very, very athletic. And he's a smart kid, man. Like, he's Wonder Woman said Malik is fun to watch. That's what I was actually about to say. Like, he's very, very fun to watch, man. And he's tough too. I like him. I like his mentality. I know he was complaining a little bit in the first game, and him and the coach got into it a little bit. But I like fire like that from my wide receivers. I want them to want the ball. I want them to want to win. So I don't knock Malik Neighbors for being passionate about getting the ball and winning. He comes from a winning organization in college, so failure is usually not an option for him. At least it hasn't been since he was in high school. So it's kind of new. Just like I was talking about with Evan Neal when he was coming from Alabama, or a lot of other draft picks that we draft from high-profile teams or Power 5 teams that don't lose that often. It's kind of hard for them to transition to the NFL, and I hate to say it, but you have to learn how to lose a little bit. You have to learn how to get it out of your mind and move on to the next week, because it's a very long season, and losing the first game of this season does not mean your season is over. I don't even think our season is over at 0-2. Don't get me wrong. It's not looking good because the schedule was crazy. But yeah, I like the passion, man. I like when young players come in and not want to lose. Wan'Dale Robinson, man, huge surprise. I was completely wrong about Wan'Dale Robinson, the type of player that I thought he was. Seemed like he was just like a wide receiver, a slot wide receiver, but more like a stat back. He played running back in college, third down back type of back. Very, very sure hands, tough kid. Obviously, he'd be getting blasted going over the middle in our offense. But Wan'Dale Robinson really, really impressed me. He was actually catching balls down the field. I'm actually shocked at the way that they're using him. I did not expect him to be down the field so often, especially since last year he was pretty much around the line of scrimmage for the whole season. But yeah, Wan'Dale Robinson actually had a very, very good game. It's probably the best game that he's ever had. I don't even know if he had a stat line like that in college, man, with 8 catches, 152 yards, and 1 touchdown. He was awesome. Darius Slayton, 2 for 61, but one of those catches I think was like 50-some yards. After not having any, I don't even think he was targeted last week. If he was targeted, he definitely didn't have a reception in the first week, but for somebody who was pretty much non-existent, he made one big play this week. I still don't know how he fits with the team. Seem like he's just running decoy routes. They don't really look for him that often, but it's not like we play Jalen Hyatt, right? So I think Darius Slayton, he's a leader on the team just because he's been on the team for so long, but I don't know how he really fits into the offense like that. If you take that one big pass away, he's pretty much non-existent again. Theo Johnson, after having butterfingers the first week, he actually caught the ball and caught 4 of them, even though he had like 2 or 3 drops in the first week. And don't get me wrong, it was 4 catches for 34 yards, but at least he caught the ball. And one of those was a very, very tough catch over the middle. He had like 2 guys ripping off of him. So he had short hands, and you could actually see the athleticism when he actually has the ball in his hands. And I like him to have the ball in his hands, but he has to do a little bit more for me. Has to do a little bit more for me going forward. Theo Johnson, I expect to have not a huge year like he's going to the Pro Bowl or anything, but like to me, it seems like he's not even I'm a little surprised that Daniel Bellinger was leapfrogged by Theo Johnson so fast. They both was drafted. Same type of draft capital, like mid-round picks. I'm a little surprised that Daniel Bellinger has been pretty much non-existent in this offense last year and this year. Like I expected him when we drafted him a few years ago. I expected Daniel Bellinger to be our starting tight end for the foreseeable future. Not like he was going to be, I didn't think he was groundbreaking or anything like that. I thought he was going to be a nice, solid piece going forward. But I don't know, it's been tough sledding for him. And Theo Johnson being there, I don't know, it seemed like they forgot that Daniel Bellinger can catch the ball at all. And it seems like every time they throw to him, he catches it. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. It's kind of the same thing with Jalen Hyatt. Like, after 2 games, Jalen Hyatt, we used a 3rd-round pick on him, and we traded up to get him. I was excited for him when we first got him. He's been completely non-existent last year and this year. Like, he hasn't even gotten on the field. I think he's dressed the last 2 games, but he hasn't registered to play. It'll be better if he actually plays special teams, and he doesn't. So at this point, I don't know. I kind of almost have to say that he's been a buzz. It might not even be his fault, but it has to be a reason why they don't trust him to be on the field at all, which is weird. Like, even with his speed, if you just tell him to, just go down the field and be a decoy, it seems like you can use that. But I don't know. It seemed like he's in the doghouse. Evan Neal, I mentioned him earlier. He hasn't seen the field. He hasn't even dressed. I think he's been a healthy scratch the past two weeks. So I don't know, man. Joe Shane's draft picks haven't been looking good as of late. On to the defense, Paulson Adebo. I wouldn't say he had a great game, but he had to shadow 2 of the best wide receivers in our conference in the NFC. Like, Dallas had George Pickens on one side, CeeDee Lamb in the slot. He was traveling with George Pickens a lot. I mean, George Pickens is a handful, man. There are two very, very good wide receivers. I think they're both Pro Bowl wide receivers. I know we've seen CeeDee Lamb ever since he's been drafted. You know, he's been one of the best slot receivers and one of the best wide receivers, period, in the league. But yeah, George Pickens is a very, very good wide receiver. Also, I don't know if you guys ever watched him in Pittsburgh, but George Pickens was one of the wide receivers that I would have liked us to draft. Um, he probably is not the type of player that would fit on this team because he kind of had character issues. And if you've seen him play in Pittsburgh, he's kind of a hot-headed wide receiver. He had an offensive pass interference this past week against us. So, you know, a lot of teams, you know, kind of don't like that from their wide receivers, too hot-headed like that. But, you know, Dallas will pick anybody. But yeah, he's a very, very, very talented wide receiver. And Paulson Adebo is not like he obviously had a lot of tackles, 13, but that means that he those wide receivers was actually catching the ball in front of him and he tackled them. For a corner to have that many tackles. The same thing with Andrew Phillips. Andrew Phillips had some good things that happened during the game. He also was getting beat a lot too. He had a unnecessary roughness penalty, slamming CeeDee Lamb to the ground. He also had an interception. So it's kind of give and take when it came to Andrew Phillips to me. Like, it was a lot of positives and it was some negatives also. But I think he's a very, very good young corner. And in a couple years, we might be talking about Andrew Phillips, hopefully, being one of the best third corners in the league, man. I like him in the slot. I don't know how he will do outside. And it seems like the Giants don't really like him outside either. But he's a tough kid, man. I like him as the third corner. Yeah, when it comes to our pass rush, obviously everybody knows that we have one of the fiercest pass rushers in the league. It's just that our linebackers and our defensive backs have to hold up for them to actually get to the quarterback. Dallas's offensive line actually played pretty well considering who they had to go up against. I'm not sure about Dexter Lawrence, man. Sexy Dexy the past couple weeks have pretty much been invisible, but you know, congratulations to him. His wife just had a baby, and he had a baby also, obviously. But they just welcomed a new addition to their family during the week. So never know how their household is. You don't know his sleep patterns. You don't know how him and his wife have been dealing with the pregnancy up until this point. And that might have been a reason why Dexter Lawrence, you rarely saw him in preseason. I don't think he played at all. Even in training camp, he skipped a lot of days. A lot of them were personal days, rest days also, because, you know, he's a pretty big guy. There's no real need for Dexter Lawrence to be practicing either. Dexter Lawrence is, you know, I'm hoping that he would get back to form soon. He seems like he needs to get in more football shape. He's been coming out, and they've been summing him out a lot. More than they did last year. So I think that's what it is. I think once stuff settles down in his household personally, I think Dexter Lawrence will be completely fine. He'll be the same sexy Dexy we always see. Kayvon Thibodeau had a good game, I thought. Brian Burns has been, I know it only says 3 tackles and 1 sack, but Brian Burns has been, I want to say, our best player on offense and defense. Like Brian Burns, the past two games, he's been awesome, man. He's looked like a Pro Bowl caliber defensive end over there getting to the quarterback. I think he had 2 sacks the first game, 1 sack this game. So I think he leads the league in sacks right now with 3. He's only been 2 games, but the fact that he got 3 that fast, and he's coming up in the run game too. The rookie Dexter. Abdul Carter only registered 1 tackle, but he had a couple pressures, and I think he played a little better in the first game. But the first game, they didn't really give him that many snaps, especially in the second half. It was a close game, and I thought it was a little weird that they didn't have him playing a lot more snaps in the second half after I watched the All-22 and was paying attention. Abdul Carter is a beast, man. I think he's going to turn into an all-pro pass rusher. I think that's just I think that's going to happen. I think um, everything that everybody says about him is real. Um, don't think of this game as what he's going to look like in the future. I think he's going to be a game wrecker as he gets older, stronger, wiser, more experienced, especially if they have, Kayvon Thibodeau and Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns all rushing the quarterback at the same time, and he can feed off their energy and learn a lot from the vets. I think Abdul Carter is going to be an absolute sensation for us. I'm not going to go through Dallas's stats because this is a Giant show. Y'all all saw the game. Let's see what we got in the chat. Hold on. Fun to watch. Wilson interception. Dwayne said Malik will be the number one wide receiver, number one next year. That's tough. Third year in the league. That means he's overtaking people like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, a couple other players. Obviously, we can go through a list. Depending on who you like, everybody's top 5 wide receivers change all the time. But yeah, Malik Neighbors, I wouldn't put it past him. It would be tough, especially with our quarterback play still. I know he had a great game, but Russell Wilson, I don't expect for him to get 400-plus yards every game, obviously. So it's going to be tough for Malik just because of how our offense is. But talent-wise, I think he's an absolute monster, man. He's just like Abdul Carter. I think he's going to be a perennial Pro Bowler and an All-Pro in the future. Definitely Pro Bowl this year. I think he's going to get enough targets this year. But when we talk about All-Pro, that means you're going to be, your top 3, top 4 in the league, depending on, who you're talking to. He plays for the Giants, so obviously he's going to be a household name. Malik Neighbors, I don't know, man. Malik Neighbors has a very, very bright future if he keeps his head on straight, which I think he will. Phillips played some D, baby. Yes, he did. He did. And don't get me wrong. When I say he had negative plays and positive plays, those are definitely plays that he can clean up. I kind of thought that the unnecessary roughness when he slammed CeeDee Lamb to the ground, I don't think Drew Phillips is a dirty player at all. I think he's just passionate, and he tried to play through the whistle, and he played a little bit through the whistle. Like he should have heard it. It seemed like everybody else heard it but him. And I see why CeeDee Lamb was mad, and I understand why they did throw the flag, but I don't think that's going to happen like weekly. I don't think we have to worry about Andrew Phillips. I mean, like, I don't know, being a hothead or, you have to worry about him in anything. I think he's just a tough-nosed football player. Stuff like that will happen. Trying to think what else on our defense, man. Well, let's just talk about how the game goes. Since we went through the stats and stuff, I'll put the team stats up here. That'll be better when you talk about Dallas. How the game went, man. Like, I was actually surprised as soon as the game started. We marching down the field, but bonehead James Hudson, I think if James Hudson was left in Dallas, I wouldn't be surprised, man. If I was the coach or if I was Joe Shane, the only reason you can't cut him is because of like a cap hit. I'm not a capologist. I never claimed to be when it comes to the money stuff. But it seemed like the only reason he's on this team is because of money. It's another decision that Joe Shane made. I obviously think it's a bad decision signing him. He wasn't good last year. He's never been a good offensive lineman, but it's almost like beggars can't be choosers, and we had to pick up somebody. But it seemed like anybody would have been better than Hudson, man. Like, I thought that first drive and how he actually conducted himself and how he was getting beat throughout the rest of the game when he played, even though he was taken out by a rookie Marcus Bowe who played well. I think Hudson, that might have been the worst offensive line play that I've ever seen from a single player. Like having like 3 or 4 penalties in one drive, have to be calmed down by coaches and players on both sides of the ball to try to calm him down so he won't get another penalty. man, like I understand passion, understand football players, I understand how I don't know grown dumb men playing a child's game can be really really hot headed. But that was absolutely ridiculous. I've never seen anything like that before. Um, they tried to take him out in the first series, and then they put him back in. I understand that. I'd have sat him down for the rest of the game, but I think maybe the offensive line coach or maybe Kafka who calls the offensive plays now. I think maybe they wanted him back in because maybe they thought Bo wasn't ready or he wasn't prepared. But that's their problem. I think that's a coaching issue, and I've seen a lot of coaching issues with this team in the past 2 weeks, man, on both sides of the ball. When you talk about the defense, I don't know what we're doing when it comes to the defense. Shane Bowen, another decision by Joe Shane. Don't get me wrong. Like when we hired Bowen last year, I think he was like our third or fourth pick. Um, but I never wanted him personally. I didn't think I never knew the fascination, like why he got the job here. I didn't think he was that good when he was with Tennessee. Tennessee's defense was good, but Mike Vrabel had a lot to do with that, I believe. Um, who's the head coach of the Patriots now? Um, yeah, it's kind of hard to fire him too because we just hired him last year, and I don't want to make him the scapegoat because it's not like the defense wasn't the reason we lost the game, but they definitely didn't help because it was the plays on offense that we could have had or we could have did. Russ, after having that awesome game through the last interception, um, the defense, that last possession, I don't know, the prevent defense when they only need like a few yards because they got an awesome kicker, and just to have like a tight end, Jake Ferguson, just go right down the field, catch the ball in the in field goal range, and that's the game from 64 yards. I don't want to say that's a fireable offense because no one play is a fireable offense, but like, what the hell are we doing? Like, what? Like that? It didn't make any sense the way we were playing defense. I don't know what the cushion was for, because it's not like just the middle of the field was open. Everything was open. Like Dak had a field day um, at one point. Like they was backed off like 10 yards, man. Like with the pass rushers that we had, it really didn't make sense. Um, why not still? Not saying that you had to press because you don't want to get beat over the top, but it's not like we was getting killed over the top all game, and our pass rushers was non-existent. So I didn't get it, man. Like I think they was playing scared. At least that's what it looked like. Um, but I don't think that's just all on Shane Bowen either. I think that has a lot to do with Dable, man. Like it's not just I don't know. It's like I'm tired of blaming coordinators and players. A lot of this has to do with the head coach, man. And I don't think Brian Dable, much as I actually, because it's hard for me to say because, well, I hate to say it because I actually like Brian Dable. I actually think he is a good offensive mind. I liked him in Buffalo. I've been praising him ever since we hired him. I thought it was a good hire when we did. Um, but yeah, like how can I argue for him anymore? Like our offense, he's supposed to be an offensive guru with a bad offense. This last game versus Dallas doesn't take me off that hill at all. That doesn't mean we're gonna have a good game against who we play next. I'm gonna put up the next game. I think we play the Chiefs next. It's not like I truly believe that Russell Wilson is just gonna have another big day for over 300 yards and a few touchdowns and stuff like that. Like our offense have been ass for the past couple years, man. It wasn't just Daniel Jones. It has to do with everything. Like our whole offense as a whole. It shouldn't take just one player. Like regardless of who the quarterback is, it didn't look good, and we shouldn't need. Like we got the Chiefs next. We shouldn't need Patrick Mahomes to have a good offense. Like there's plenty offenses in the league that don't have a Pro Bowl or All Pro quarterback that could get at least 3 touchdowns a game. And for the past few years, um, no touchdown in the first game for the past like 3 seasons. Like that's almost unheard of. Like I don't even know when the last time that happened. especially in the modern era. It's weird. Like he's an offensive guru with a bad offense. But now he's an offensive guru with a bad offense. And our defense isn't that good either, even though we have uber talented people on that side of the ball. So at the end of the day, it's the coordinators, but Brian Dable is the not Brian Dable. Brian Dable and Joe Shane is responsible for this roster. They're responsible for the coaching. They're responsible for everything. So we'll see how it goes for the rest of the season. Hold on. Here we go. What Wonder Woman asked, I missed it. Hold on. I like to talk to the chat. How much time do we think Joe Shane Bros? See, that's a very, very tricky question, Wonder Woman, because some of us thought they on borrowed time now. Most people think they should have got fired last year. I'm probably one of those people. But now that they're here, I think for them to be for at least, I think Joe Shane finishes the year, definitely, no matter how bad we are. We do have the tougher schedule in the league, so it's kind of hard to just put everything on Dable. Those teams on paper, we won't be favorited in a game. I will have to look at the whole schedule for us to even know when we're going to be favored. Their team, like some of that does not have to do with Brian Dable. Some of that has to do with Joe Shane and how he built his roster in the past 4 years. So it's not all on Brian Dable, but I kind of have the feeling that ownership is going to have Shane fire Dable this season. If it keeps looking like the first game. This second game, heartbreaking loss, but we put up too many points for anybody to say that his job should be on the line. Don't get me wrong, a lot of boneheaded coaching plays and stuff like that happen at boneheaded player plays too, but a lot of that has to do with coaching when it comes to discipline. The penalties that we had, let me scroll down here. The penalties, Dallas had 12 from 106. We had 14 from 160. And that 14 doesn't count. That's the ones that counted. There are other multiple, like sometimes we had 2 penalties on one play. Only one of them count. So when you think about these 14 penalties, we damn near had 20. That was one of the most, I don't know, it's almost disrespectful for a coach to see stuff like that, man. Like that's terrible. So I think, let me finish my thought with Brian Dable. I think that if it continues to look like that, and it continues to look like the first game, Brian Dable is going to get fired before the season is out. And then maybe Joe Shane will get fired at the end of the season. But they're going to make Joe Shane fire Brian Dable first. Like one of them is going to have to go first. I don't think they're both going at the same time. Unfortunately, that's how I think it's going to go if we keep losing the way that we're losing, especially the first game. The first game was ridiculous. Like scoring 6 points and not scoring a touchdown in a football game, and we completely healthy except for, I haven't talked about Andrew Thomas. Hopefully he'll get back soon. There's not a single offensive tackle in this league that should make you stop scoring points. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't want to downplay the position because obviously left tackle is a marquee position. But if your left tackle goes down, you have to adjust some way that you can still score points. If anybody else's left tackle goes down, I don't automatically think that they're not going to score touchdowns in the game. Like it's over. Like they can't scheme up anything. So a lot of that has to do with coaching. We'll see how long they last. The next game, we play the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. So the whole world is going to be watching us. You already know we're the Giants, so we get games like this simply because we're the Giants. We're not, because you got to think about it, we won 3 games last year. Why do we even have a primetime game this year? And against the Chiefs, who went to the Super Bowl. Doesn't make any sense. But we're the Giants, so is marketing wise, we're the biggest market. So we always going to get bad games like this for us. The whole world is going to be watching. The Chiefs, we might could get them. We might could get them while they hurting, while they down. They 0-2 just like us. But does that really mean that the Chiefs are going to go 0-3 for the and people play teams that usually go 0-3, especially 0-4? It's almost like a death sentence when it comes to making the playoffs. Like it's kind of hard for me to believe the Chiefs are going to go 0-3. They did play 2 playoff caliber teams though. They played the Chargers, which was a good game. And they lost to the Eagles, which was a good game. Both of those teams are going to the playoffs. The Eagles obviously just won the Super Bowl and beat them. So they actually played well against 2 playoff caliber teams, and then they play us on Sunday Night Football. So hopefully we could get them to 0-3 and we won't be 0-3. I would never say I want this team to lose unless it's like for draft position, and we're definitely not there yet. It's only the 3rd week. But yeah, man, hopefully we can beat the Chiefs' ass, but we'll see. Yeah, other than that, I think that's it, man. I don't know if anybody else got any questions. I think I'm going to get on out of here running solo today. Salute to Steph. Salute to my guy, Eru. Diehard Knicks. Visit his channel. Visit Steph's channel. We on Dope Soul Sports Talk every Thursday at 9. Me, Steph, of course. Ajay, Jeff, my guys. Delusional be popping up sometimes. Salute to everybody else that be on the show. But yeah, man, hold on. Dwayne said Mahomes will go 0-3. That's what's up. Giants win 27-21, Dwayne says. I like it. Hopefully. You got to think about it. The Giants scoring 27 points. If we didn't have the type of game that we had against Dallas, would we predict that the New York Football Giants is going to score that many points in the game, especially since the first week, man. So that's the show. I don't think anybody else having any more questions. Hold on. One woman just hit me up and said, we limit our penalties, we'll have a chance. Yeah, that's hard to say, man. Like with this coaching staff and the way that we played this past week against Dallas, we look like the bad news bears. We look like the worst football team on the planet at one point while we were scoring still. That's how bad Dallas look. I didn't really talk about Dallas that much because it's not a Dallas show, and they won the game, so it's kind of hard for me to just shit on them. But Dallas didn't look good. Us scoring 37 points on any football team is a conundrum to me compared to how many games that we've seen with this offense. Like us scoring that many points on Dallas, everybody was surprised, obviously. But that just means Dallas isn't that good either. But we tried. We took it to them. We usually curse against Dallas. Like I said at the beginning of the show, we hardly ever beat them. Since Dak has been drafted, I think we've only beat him like one time. And I don't even remember the last time we won in Dallas, period. I think the last time we won in Dallas, Eli was still quarterbacking. And not like in his last year either. So it's been a tough 10 years, man. I think it's been like 7, 8 years maybe. I didn't look it up, but it has to be almost a decade that we've beaten Dallas in Dallas. But damn near beat Dallas at all. Let me get out of here before I get mad, man. Y'all be cool. I'll be here next week on Tuesday, 9 o'clock. We're trying to lock this night down. I know I missed last week, but I had schedule issues. But hopefully every Tuesday at 9 o'clock, man. So peace to everybody. Have a good night. Salute to Dwayne. Salute to Kareem, my guy, Wonder Woman. Y'all already know my peoples. Y'all show up every week. I think Steph and Eru both did message me. I think they both just busy, man. I think Steph's still on vacation. She be chilling. She said she'll be there next week. Eru just got in the house, man. Everybody working, man. Working hard, feeding families and stuff, man. So I'll holla. See y'all next week. Peace.